Let's jump right into it. Number 8. Your fear of spiders isn't actually about the spider in your bathroom. It's about a creature that lived 100 million years ago and could literally eat your ancestors for breakfast. Back when humans were tiny shrew-like mammals scurrying around dinosaur feet, there were spiders the size of dinner plates stalking through ancient forests. These weren't your garden variety house spiders we're talking about. Picture a spider with legs spanning nearly a foot, fangs that could puncture through primitive mammal hide, and venom potent enough to paralyze prey 10 times their size. Your great-great-great times a million grandmother who jumped away from that rustling in the undergrowth lived to pass on her genes. The one who got curious about that 8-legged shadow became prehistoric spider food. Fast forward to today, and you're standing on a chair screaming at something smaller than a quarter. Your brain doesn't care that modern spiders pose virtually zero threat to you. It's still running that ancient software that says 8 legs plus movement equals immediate evacuation protocol. The really wild part is that this fear response activates faster than conscious thought. Your amygdala spots those angular legs and triggers fight or flight before your logical brain can even process what you're looking at. That's not a bug in your mental programming, it's a feature that kept your bloodline alive through millions of years of actual danger. Number 7. That churning sensation you get when looking down from a tall building isn't fear of falling, it's fear of jumping. Scientists call this high place phenomenon, and it reveals something disturbing about how your ancient brain interprets modern situations. Our tree-dwelling ancestors faced a constant, deadly math problem. Stay in the branches and risk starvation, or venture down to the ground where saber-toothed cats and other predators waited. The ones who survived weren't the fearless climbers or the perpetual ground huggers. They were the ones with just the right amount of height anxiety to keep them cautious but functional. Here's where it gets weird. When you're standing at the edge of a cliff or tall building, part of your brain is actually calculating whether jumping might be a viable escape route from whatever imaginary predator might be approaching from behind. It's the same neural circuitry that helped early humans decide whether leaping from tree to tree was worth the risk when a leopard was climbing up toward them. Your modern brain knows you're safe on that observation deck, but your ancient survival system is running scenarios where controlled falling might be preferable to whatever's hunting you. The vertigo, the sweaty palms, the urge to step back, it's all your prehistoric software trying to keep you alive in a world where falling from height meant certain death, not a safety railing and a lawsuit. Number 6. Your fear of the dark isn't about darkness itself, it's about what used to hunt humans when the sun went down. For 99% of human history, nightfall was feeding time for everything that considered us a delicious midnight snack. Our ancestors weren't apex predators. They were medium-sized, relatively slow, soft-skinned mammals with terrible night vision competing against creatures specifically designed for nocturnal hunting. Cave bears with night vision 20 times better than ours. Saber-toothed cats that could see heat signatures in complete darkness. Hyenas with hearing so acute they could track a heartbeat from hundreds of yards away. The humans who survived were the ones who treated darkness like the life-threatening situation it actually was. They stayed near fires, huddled together, and remained hypervigilant until sunrise. Those who wandered off alone into the night or fell into deep sleep without proper protection became something else's protein source. Your fear of dark hallways and unlit rooms is that same survival mechanism firing on all cylinders. Your brain doesn't distinguish between the darkness in your bedroom and the darkness that concealed deadly predators for millions of years. When you imagine something lurking in the shadows, you're not being paranoid. You're channeling the hypervigilance that kept your genetic line alive. The fact that you sleep with your back to the wall or need to check behind shower curtains, that's not neurosis, that's ancient wisdom encoded in your DNA. Number 5. Social anxiety isn't a modern invention. It's your brain's response to prehistoric tribal politics, where being rejected literally meant death. Early human communities were small, tight-knit groups where your survival depended entirely on maintaining your position within the social hierarchy. Get kicked out of the tribe and you were dead within days. No access to shared resources, no protection from predators, no help gathering food or defending against threats. Ostracism was essentially a death sentence with extra steps. The humans who survived were the ones who became exquisitely sensitive to social cues, facial expressions, and group dynamics. They could read the room and adjust their behavior before crossing lines that might get them exiled. Your modern social anxiety is that same hypervigilance system running at full capacity in situations where social rejection might be embarrassing, but isn't actually fatal. You're terrified of public speaking or worry obsessively about what others think. Your ancient brain is treating that boardroom presentation like a tribal council meeting, where saying the wrong thing could get you banished to die alone in the wilderness. The sweating, the racing heart, the urge to flee, that's your survival system preparing for what it perceives as a life-or-death social evaluation. Your ancestors who didn't have this response either got themselves killed by angering the group or missed crucial social information that could save their lives. The ones who survived were the socially anxious ones who paid attention to every detail of group interaction. Number 4. Claustrophobia isn't about small spaces, it's about being trapped underground where our ancestors faced some of their most terrifying predators. For early humans, caves represented a deadly gamble. They provided shelter from weather and some protection from predators, but they were also perfect hunting grounds for the creatures that specialized in confined spaces. Cave bears weren't just big, they were massive, territorial, and perfectly adapted for underground combat. A full-grown cave bear could weigh over 1,500 pounds and had claws designed for digging through rock. When they decided a cave was theirs, any humans inside became trapped with a killing machine in a space too small to run. Then there were the cave lions, hyenas, and other predators that used caves as staging areas for ambush hunting. Their ancestors who survived were the ones who maintained escape route awareness, even in seemingly safe underground spaces. They were the ones whose nervous systems went into overdrive when they couldn't see multiple exits or felt like the walls were closing in. Modern claustrophobia triggers in elevators, MRI machines, and crowded rooms because your brain can't distinguish between being trapped in a modern space and being cornered by a cave bear with nowhere to run. That panic response that makes you claw at elevator buttons or refuse to enter tight spaces. That's the same fight-or-flight system that kept humans alive when being trapped underground meant facing prehistoric predators in their element. The survivors were the ones who never got comfortable in confined spaces, who always kept mental maps of escape routes, who trusted their instincts when a space felt wrong. Number 3. Your fear of snakes is so ancient it predates human existence by millions of years. Scientists have discovered that primates have specialized neural circuits dedicated specifically to snake detection that evolved long before humans ever existed. Our tree-dwelling ancestors faced venomous snakes that could kill them in minutes and constrictors large enough to crush them entirely. But here's the really mind-bending part. Some of these prehistoric snakes were so massive, they make modern anacondas look like garden hoses. Titanoboa, which lived shortly after the dinosaurs, was 50 feet long and weighed over a ton. It could swallow a crocodile whole and crush an early mammal without even noticing. The primates who survived were the ones who developed lightning-fast snake recognition abilities. They could spot the subtle S-curve pattern, the specific way sunlight reflected off scales, or the particular type of movement that meant danger. This detection system became so refined that modern humans can identify snake-like patterns faster than we can consciously process what we're looking at. You'll jump away from a garden hose or curved stick before your rational brain even realizes what you're seeing. That's not a malfunction, that's a 60-million-year-old early warning system that's so effective it occasionally produces false alarms. The fear response is so deeply embedded that even people who have never seen a real snake in their lives will have visceral reactions to snake-like shapes and movements. Your ancestors who didn't have this hypertuned snake detection system became evolutionary dead ends, taken out by predators they never saw coming. Number 2. Agoraphobia, the fear of open spaces, stems from a time when crossing open ground was the most dangerous thing our ancestors could do. Picture the African savanna 2 million years ago. Early humans lived in small groups near water sources and rocky outcroppings that provided some protection. But to find food, migrate to new areas, or escape threats, they had to cross vast expanses of open grassland where they became visible targets for every predator within miles. Lions, leopards, hyenas, wild dogs, and other pack hunters all used the same hunting strategy. Wait for prey to venture into open areas where there was nowhere to hide, then attack from multiple directions. Humans crossing open ground were essentially announcing themselves as available prey to every carnivore in the area. The ones who survived were those who felt deep anxiety about leaving cover, who planned crossing routes carefully, and who moved in groups with constant vigilance. They were the ones whose nervous systems treated open spaces as dangerous exposure zones, requiring maximum alertness and minimum time spent vulnerable. Modern agoraphobia triggers in shopping malls, large parking lots, and open public spaces because your ancient brain interprets these as the same type of dangerous exposure that got our ancestors killed. When you feel panicked in wide open areas or need to stay near walls and exits, you're experiencing the same survival programming that kept humans alive when stepping into the open meant becoming visible to everything that wanted to eat them. The anxiety about being unable to escape or find help, that's your prehistoric early warning system designed for environments where help wasn't coming and escape routes were literally matters of life and death. Number 1. The most surprising phobia origin is fear of holes, or trypophobia, which connects to one of the deadliest threats our ancestors faced, infectious diseases and parasites. Those clusters of small holes that make your skin crawl aren't just randomly disturbing patterns. They trigger an ancient disease avoidance system that kept humans alive in a world where parasitic infections could wipe out entire communities. Many of the deadliest diseases and parasites that plagued early humans created distinctive hole patterns in their hosts. Botfly larvae burrowing under skin, certain bacterial infections creating crater-like lesions, parasitic worms emerging from multiple exit wounds, viral infections causing clustered pustules and pockmarks. The humans who survived were the ones who developed an intense aversion to these patterns, who felt disgust and revulsion when they saw them, and who instinctively avoided contact with anything displaying these danger signals. This wasn't learned behavior, it was hardwired survival programming. See holes clustered together, especially in organic contexts, and immediately activate contamination avoidance protocols. Modern trypophobia gets triggered by innocent things like lotus seed pods, honeycomb, or bubble wrap, because your ancient pathogen detection system can't distinguish between actual disease indicators and harmless patterns that happen to look similar. That nauseating, skin-crawling sensation you get from looking at clustered holes is your prehistoric immune system screaming danger signals about potential infectious threats. The people who didn't have this response were more likely to investigate diseased animals, infected wounds, or contaminated areas, exposing themselves to pathogens that could kill them or their entire group. The survivors were the ones who trusted their gut revulsion and stayed away from anything that triggered their disease detection algorithms, even when they couldn't consciously identify why something felt wrong. I'll make similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.